how you see your academy, if I talk about the long next 10 years or 15 years, and how important alumni plays a role in the school growth, how important you take or you consider your alumni for the school. What do you think? Why people always contribute or give credit to the university or college? Why not school?
I think it is for two things. It is because of their experience in high school, and secondly, but most important, is the recognition or the status coming from a university. I went into University of Guyana. I chose computer science, but apparently they didn't choose me. So after failing many courses in my second year, I realized this is not for me. I took a break.
How you see yourself, as I asked you, after 10 years, what is your school is going to be, or how you're going to continue this legacy?
So for me, that will really push quality control. That is one. And most importantly, keep systemizing the business. You save yourself time, energy, and money. So once it's systemized, it's of international standards.
I just want to understand, or maybe you can have a one story of your alumni which you think is the biggest success you contributed in someone's life.
There's one young lady, I can remember her dropping out of the public school. And
So, welcome to this podcast, Dr. Gorak. Let's talk education. And I'm very excited to have a conversation with you because what I'm able to understand about your school is, about your academy is, where you focus hands-on learning. That's a key point where I guess we started a company, we started a brand, RoboChamps, with a vision to revolutionize education system from theoretical to hands-on practice. And the key line for your school, or the foundation of your school, is based on the hands-on practice.
correct.
And school based out in South America, where people across the world see America as a country or as a inspiration. So everyone wants to be like Americans, and the country wants to be like America. So that's a key role where your country plays a very important role across the world. So, after going through your profile, what I've understood is that you have spent almost 30 years. That's a 3 decade in the education sector. So, starting before we start, I just want to understand what insisted you to spend your whole life into the education.
All right, so thank you so much for having me. Careers Academy was just an idea. 30 years ago, having completed high school, the whole mission at that time was to mentor the neighbors' children because at that time the public school was not doing so well. But I guess after I would have done that within 6 months to 9 months, the parents themselves within the community must have seen in me what I didn't even see in myself. So at that time, they all asked to see if I can do this on a full-time basis because the children was doing well as I mentored them. So it actually started in my father's garage with just 12 children. And two of those children actually they're now directors at CAI and they're actually at the World School Summit in here in Dubai. So
Amazing.
they would have grown with me through that journey. It wasn't an easy journey, but today, at that time, it was just a mission, but for me now it's a passion. Dealing with the generation now, especially in the school system, it can be very challenging, especially when one of your core values is discipline. But I wake up every single day excited to do this over and over. So, what started in my father's garage about 30 years ago, and I was just 16 at that time. Today, it is now, Community Academy is the largest private school in my country, and it's in South America. Geographically, we're located in South America, but culturally, we're part of the Caribbean. So today, we have 4 campuses, 1,600 plus students, and we're globally recognized for pushing holistic education.
Amazing.
Yes,
So, the whole world education system, if we understand, is more focused on academics. But
correct.
as I see your academy, as see your college, school, that is more focused towards the holistic education.
Correct.
So why holistic education? What role it plays in?
I believe having 4 children of my own, I realized that I have boys
Hmm.
and they need a system, an education system that keeps them excited, keeps them intrigued. And just listening to them, and on many days, sometimes they get bored in the classroom. So I realized that I had to revolutionize, I had to pivot. If not, we would have been left behind. So COVID was a very good opportunity. While persons saw it as a downtime, we saw it as an opportunity to really regroup ourselves. And that was when we moved from 2 locations to 4 locations. During COVID, we actually expanded to 2 more campuses. So during that time, there was a lot of studies as to how we can move from, because we realized after COVID, we cannot go back into a traditional classroom. After all, it's almost 2 years, children was behind the screen. So going back now, you had to change the whole education system to adapt to their new way of learning. And it's because, like I said, having the experience with my own 4 boys, and you realize that the traditional setting in the classroom no longer excites and intrigues them. And then you realize that you not just have to prepare these children for exams, but it was all about preparing them for life, so that they can make a bigger impact. So there was a lot of research and studies that went into changing, revolutionizing the whole education system. We're not there as yet, but it's a work in progress, bringing in yoga and meditation into our school system, a lot of focus on sports. Academic is the focus, but it's not the primary focus anymore. It's all about a balanced approach to learning.
So if we talk about the percentage of academic and the other activities.
I would say it's a 60-40 because in my country, the culture of the people is still, a lot of them is still focused on the children results, exam results. So you have to now bring that balance. While it's our schools are set up in 3 geographic locations in my country, it's there's diversity. Within one location, persons are focused heavily on what's in it for them in terms of a balanced approach to learning, holistic approach, while in another location, the culture of the people, they want to know how well the children will perform in an exam. So you have to learn how to bring that balance. So there's a lot of work that is happening, and STEM education is our most recent push. Since we signed on to RoboChamp and bringing in the curriculum and so on, we find that actually our school is filled to capacity right now because we're taking this new approach to learning. And I think that's what the generation wants now. This is what they yearn for, moving away from a traditional setting to more contemporary approach to education and learning.
Interesting. So, if the one, question which was there in my mind, you have changed it. I usually think in my country, people focus on the results. But I guess the whole world, parents' mentality and parents' thought process is quite similar. They are more concerned to focus on, the results so that their kids can do better in the future, which they
Yes,
think.
yes,
But after coming AI, and the question which I want to ask you is here is, after COVID, people were struggling and closing down their campuses, and
yes,
you decided to open 2 more campuses.
correct.
What was the reason, and what motivates you that doing that thing?
See what happened. Like I said, for every organization, your core values is they're very important. So, in our years of doing business in Guyana, there were a lot of eyes on us. And your network for me is my net worth. That is what determines my net worth. And there are many business chambers to which I was members of. So, there were investors in those chambers who at that time saw that Camille's would be a good investment as they were looking as they come out of COVID, which would be the right fit for them. Mind you, at that time in our country, and I believe the entire world, education and I think it was hotels and so that was impacted the most. So people were thinking what's going to happen with school next. But here we are in discussions, in negotiations with 2 investors who set up during those 2 years 2 huge campuses. So having people who believes in your vision and more so when your core value is integrity, that definitely will build trust.
Right.
So you had investors who were there ready to invest in my vision. So when we came out of the COVID, it was 2 new campuses. Within a year or two, it was actually filled to capacity. So it's having a good network, doing good business, having good integrity in your business, and so on. All of that would have really catapult the kind of growth that we would have seen in 2 years Well, like I said, it was pretty much downtime from many other businesses.
So a lot of country people are going to witness this podcast and going to listen this podcast, specifically the community which we have built across the world, school community.
Correct.
So if we through this podcast we want to explain in simple language what is holistic learning, uh, what impact it created in your schools,
What
and
impacted?
holistic learning,
Okay.
what impact holistic learning
Yes.
created among parents, among students, or among the community, or among the school. And second is what is the future of putting so much effort in
Yes.
implementing holistic learning. So let's
Okay.
start
Okay.
from what is holistic learning in layman language, how
Yes.
you're going to explain what is
Okay.
holistic learning.
So holistic learning for me, like I said, this is just a journey that is in the making for the past 1.5 to 2 years. For those who know about Guyana, we have probably one of the highest suicidal rate within the Western Hemisphere.
And what is the reason for that?
I believe it comes with a lot of poverty is one of the reason. Poverty is one of the
Okay.
reason. I think not having the level of mental support,
Hmm.
especially from the government side. So it's mental support, poverty, I think lack of education, and not having sufficient, social amenities and opportunities for young people. So what we found since we brought him up, right now there's a mental health program that we're running as well that teaches children, areas like empathy, resilience, personal empowerment. Those are soft skills that you're actually learning at a school. It has a curriculum that is built around it as well. So it's moving away from mathematics and language and sciences to more a lot of soft skills that actually helps you develop a child or individuals, holistically. There's also a youth leadership program for those who know, a world-renowned, I think it's a leadership coach, John Maxwell. See, we were the first school in my country to subscribe to that leadership program as well. So there's now curriculum that is being offered for that. All of these are opportunities we're looking for to build a mental stamina, to improve on the emotional, psyche of young people, and not just to force the curriculum onto them where they feel pressured.
Hmm.
So, like I said before, holistic for us is taking a balanced approach to learning. It's truly transforming the education sector. 60% academics and 40% other opportunities or soft skills that will develop a child, that fully so they can function effectively in
Hmm.
society. Especially when they go into the corporate world, there's a lot of soft skills that is required. It's important that we teach them that in high school.
Hmm.
So when they go out there now, they don't have to learn it on their own. And I find more and more parents are appreciating this new approach. So it's no longer the academics that some of them are feel pressured, but what we would have found is that children are more happier now. Probably will find some way of running a survey to determine, probably, I think there's a happiness index,
Yeah.
which I want to explore to test and measure the children and their, how comfortable they are in school, how happy they are, especially in terms of their mental wellness. Because for me, that should be a really main focus, especially with young people. Because for me, they give up very easily and they
Hmm.
feel pressured, with having so much influence with social media and so on.
Hmm.
So here's where you have to bring in that support for them now.
So how you convinced or how you uh, insisted your parents to have a holistic
Okay.
approach in their students' life or in their kids' life?
Okay. So for me, effective communication played a very important role, and that was through our PTA conferences. It took many months of convincing, but when you lead with empathy and people, realize that this is a passion, that you're not so focused on the numbers, and you have their children's best interests at heart, they start to walk that journey with you and they realize that, it's good opportunities. So apart from effective communication in any business, like I said, when you have integrity as one of your core value, you build that element of trust. So what we have found, through communication, asking letting parents know exactly this will be the new approach, we find it wasn't that long that person started to adapt. For me it was easy, but most importantly, anything new you go through a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tapes, especially if it's within a public system. especially if you're going to focus, if you're going to shift, sorry, from the curriculum, which is the public school curriculum. But in a private school, it was easy to make that shift
Mm.
because, being the leader of that organization, having a good PTA body, having good leadership, a good management structure, and to have that same system replicated across the four campuses, it did take some time and some convincing. But for me, within 6 months, we saw that person start to adapt. So when we announced some new courses, especially the soft skill, the new approaches you'll be taking, we found that parents started to adapt. But one of the most important thing was we made it part of the system where for the high schoolers, especially there is a Caribbean exam. As you exit high school, you have to write the Caribbean Secondary Education exam. We made it in such a way that there were criteria before you graduate,
Mm.
which meant that you're not just doing the academics. You had to do like leadership skills, training in empathy, training in resilience. You had to be part, at least do two sports. Subjects like food, nutrition, and health became compulsory. All of that was a new approach to learning. But because people understand, they followed your passion, they knew what your vision were, the mission was easy.
Mm.
It took some convincing, but for me, we're at a very comfortable place. Like I said before, having established that trust and it built brand loyalty over the years. So for me, it was easy.
So, how long the brand is, or how old the brand is?
Community Academy, I started teaching about 30 years ago.
Okay.
5 years after that, that was just pro bono. 5 years after that, I did the whole structure. I registered at the organization. It's 25 years this year.
25 years this year.
Yes.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on completing almost 2.5 decade.
Yes.
It's a long, long time.
Correct.
Almost half of the life you have spent in the
Yes.
education. Yeah.
But it didn't feel that way because what started out as a mission to just help the neighbor's children, for me, turned into a passion for educating the nation's children. That's how I see it.
Right.
A mission to now a passion.
How you see your academy, if I talk about the long time, long run, next 10 years or 15 years, and how important alumni plays a role in the school growth, and how important you take or you consider your alumni for the school.
That's interesting because right now we will set up alumni in North America. So there are many students, past students, who's now living in North America that is in discussion of us setting up a campus there, especially the same experience that they would have had at Community Academy 15, 20 years ago. They now want their children to have that experience because it's all about discipline and family.
It's a community now.
Yes, it's a community, exact. So the alumni played a very key role there. And what we also would have seen is that members of the alumni is really, really doing well for themselves. So when you share their stories, especially this being 25 years in business, we focus on the journey of our members from the alumni, where they were 25 years ago, 20, 10, 15 years, even up to 5 years ago, to where they are today, and how Camille's Academy would have impacted that journey. Especially, I don't mean to sound biased, but there's a lot of focus on developing the girls, especially ensuring that they have a good opportunity to education. So while we charge a fee, because education for me it's not a cost, it's an investment.
Yeah.
So while we charge a fee, we right now it's about 25% of our student population that actually gets either full or partial scholarship, but there are more girls than boys.
Amazing.
Again, where we come from, we still have a lot of some focus on parents are still in this position where they think it's better to invest in a boy child than their daughters. So when parents are in this position to make a decision or they're financially challenged, here's where the school steps in.
So is this the same mindset in South America and North America, or it is
No,
totally different?
totally different.
Being from the same country,
Well, Guyana is in South
yeah,
America, right?
but culture is almost similar
Just somewhat, yes,
somewhere.
yes. I find that the Caribbean is heavily influenced by what happens in North America, especially with this generation.
I
And the
guess the
influence
whole
of
world.
social media,
Yeah.
obviously.
And the whole world is focused or is a follower of North America
North
somewhere.
America, that is
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah. So how you see yourself, as I asked you, after 10 years,
Okay.
what is your school is going to be, or how you're going to continue this legacy?
All right. So what is happening right now? We're currently in the process of going for ISO certification. That's international standards.
Okay.
So for me, that will really push quality control. That is one. And most importantly, keep systemizing the business. And I'm of one philosophy. Once you systemize the business, like the name suggests, you save yourself time, energy, and money. So once it's systemized, it's of international standards, I can now see the multiplying effect, where one day Camus Academy can be a franchise,
Right.
license, but most important, you must subscribe to an international standard because we've built our organization on standards, integrity, good core values. So it's not just selling a license, but you're making sure it falls onto an international certification body.
Franchise, you're looking across the world or in South America or North America?
We
Or...
can start within the South America and the
Okay.
Caribbean and then possibly beyond because 5 years ago, my vision at that time was to be the premier private school within my country. Now, as we would have grown and we would have reached that stage, the vision have now changed to be globally recognized. And through World School Summit, we would have achieved that January. So my vision now have to change again to something on a bigger, grander scale. And
Yeah.
here's where the World School Summit comes in.
And of course, it's all about the networking, it's about the
Correct.
community. When I started my venture long back 10 years ago, started from India, started from my own city. When I started doing Indian School Awards, where I started meeting, a lot of school owners and principals from across the India. Then we thought this is not an area where should we work. We should work across the India. Then we started World School Summit, started
Yes.
meeting people across the world, and then Horizon, or
Yes.
you can say the vision uh, keeps getting better and better every day.
Correct.
So, interesting conversation, interesting insights I'm getting from you. So, going forward, I just want to understand, or maybe you can have a one story of your alumni which you think is the biggest success you contributed in someone's life.
Okay. So if you do research Community Academy, you can read about a lot of success stories in terms of the impact you would have had at a larger scale. But there are two individuals. There's one young lady. I can remember her dropping out of the public school, and it was very expensive for her to go back to school, especially private, because she would have reached the age where she would have surpassed the requirement for public. She made some bad decisions, to which she owned up to, and she approached us and she wanted to come back. And at that time, her parents couldn't afford it. I think they may have shunned her to some extent. So, being a girl child, I really know what education would have done for me, so I gave her the opportunity. She turned her life around 2 years after she graduated as a valedictorian of her class. She's now studying in America on a scholarship where she will be coming back to my country as the first female who possibly can be the captain of one of those FPSOs, these big oil ships.
Amazing.
That's where she's at today, and that would be a wonderful success story for us. So she's coming back, I think, as a second in command, and with contributing her hours and experience, that's where she's working towards. So that is one of the highlights for Community Academy because we've been recognized, even in the major, for open doors for her, and look at where she's at today. That she's on a scholarship studying overseas. There's another young man, lost both of his parents. Um, true, I think his mom was actually she was murdered, and then the father, I think he was incarcerated. So he had a really bad childhood growing up. He was miserable as ever. He gave everyone challenge in school. But for some reason, I believed I understood why he behaved the way he behaved, and I did not choose to give up on him. We gave him leadership opportunities. Back in our country, you can give them prefects. So for me, I saw this as an opportunity to build his morale, let him believe in himself more. Um, he changed his life. He was no longer a nuisance to his teachers, graduated among the top 10, and today he is a lieutenant in the U.S. Army.
Amazing.
So those are two stories I'm very proud of, and there are many, many more. So in our 25th anniversary celebration, we're hoping to get them to come back, and we'll be launching a trust. We'll be launching an NGO where all of the students who's currently getting scholarships will now fall under that NGO. And this is me paying it forward to give back to society.
Amazing.
Yes.
So, one question is, stuck in my mind since long, and I keep asking this question to a lot of school owners, principals, and
Yes.
educators. So, I spent almost 15 years of my life in school. That's how the education system is.
Yes.
And then 4 years of my life in college, in my graduation. So when someone asks me, it's not with me, it's across the world. It's the same standard. When someone asks me, brief me about yourself, we proudly say, I'm alumni Chitkara University, for example,
Okay.
my university name.
Yes.
But back in the mind, my question is always, I spent almost 15 years of my life in school, just 4 years in graduation in some college, and I give credit to my university, not my school.
High school.
So it happens across the world,
Yes.
because I don't know why. What is the reason? There are very less schools across the world where people proudly say, "I'm alumni this school."
Yes.
So if someone says, "I'm dropout,"
Okay.
but I always say you are not dropout. You are pass out from some school, no?
Okay.
You are dropout from college or university, but you have passed
Yes.
out from some school. So you should mention कि I'm pass out from this or alumni of this,
Yes.
school.
Yes.
So what do you think? Why people always contribute or give credit to the university or college? Why not school?
I think it is for two things. It is because of their experience in high school, and secondly, but most important, is the recognition or the status coming from a university. So for me, it has always been a pride when I graduated my MBA. Mind you, I was a university dropout as well.
Hmm.
So when I finished high school, I was very intrigued by computers, but bad at
Hmm.
mathematics. So I thought, just being 17, I went into University of Guyana. I chose computer science, but apparently it didn't choose me.
Hmm.
So after failing many courses in my second year, I realized this is not for me.
Hmm.
I took a break. I took a break, and that was like around 19 years. I did a lot of short courses, a lot of leadership training. I got married at the age of 22, had my first son in 23, another one at 25. By the time I was 30, I realized these short courses ain't gonna cut it for me, because in my country, you get the recognition, you get the admiration as you continue to qualify yourself. So that is when I took the mature entry route, because there was an option there without having a bachelor's degree. And I went straight into the MBA. My second year in my MBA, I got pregnant with
Hmm.
my fourth son, so I had to take a break. So it took me 3 years to finish my MBA. For me, I have found over the years, like everything I have achieved, including my academic, accolades, it has always been a struggle. But the greatest feeling is that when it's finished, you get that purest sense of pride, and you feel good about yourself.
Right.
The journey to 30 years has been challenging, but like I said today, it's now a passion.
Hmm. When there's passion, I guess all the challenges
Yes.
seems like just a milestone.
For me, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So through this podcast, if you want to give message to schools, specifically the educators,
Okay.
what message you want to give?
I think the most important message is to make sure that it's not about having the best child or the best students when it comes to the results. I think having children who are happy, who enjoys coming to school, who enjoys the experience of being in that classroom, I think that is the most important. Once children are happy, they feel comfortable where they are, and they recognize and they feel valued, we have found that the results comes in after. And everything for me falls into place. So your primary focus have to be on making sure that your children that are happy. I prefer a happier kid than, might sound a bit different. I prefer them to be happy than to be the smartest. The happiest at what they do. They feel good about coming to school. That's something we take pride in. And at Camise Academy, we're known to be huggers. During COVID, it was really, really hard for us because We love what we do. And seeing children, how they blossomed into amazing human beings, contributing meaningful to society, that gives me the best feeling than if someone graduated with 15, 20 subjects, but in terms of their attitude and their behavior, it's not very admirable. I feel that I would have failed that child. So that's how
Amazing.
I see it.
So very good insights and very
Yes.
thoughtful process. And I wish you the best to keep doing the way you're doing and keep spreading your thought process and the processes which you have implemented in your school across the world.
Yes.
And good luck to start with the franchising very
Yes.
soon. Would love to see your academies across the world.
Yes.
And this is how the process should flow. So thank you so much for coming for this podcast, taking out your time, and I hope you had a good time.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This is actually my first podcast.
Amazing. So I hope it will turn out to be good.